for the 10:15 Great Western Railway service to Falmouth Docks, calling at Perranwell, Penryn, Penmere, Falmouth Town and Falmouth Docks. This train has 2 coaches.
Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Cornwall, and today I'm travelling the Maritime Line between Truro and Falmouth. And in Falmouth there are 2 railway stations. There's the Town Station and also Falmouth Docks, and I'll be looking at both of those today. There's also 3 other minor stations at Penmere, Penryn and Perranwell. And at Penryn there's a passing loop which allows 2 Class 150 diesel multiple units to operate on this line, providing a 30-minute service between Monday and Saturday, with a less frequent service on Sundays and also during the evenings. So I hope you enjoy watching the video from a very sunny Falmouth. My journey along the Maritime Line begins here at Falmouth Docks, and back in the day this was quite a station. It was simply known as Falmouth Station back then, and it boasted a signalman, a porter and a shunter, and there was also a full-blown booking office and very active goods sidings. The station was 200 feet long, and there were 3 tracks and 2 platforms. And the engine and goods sheds were built just outside the station, and there were 20 railway cottages built for the staff who were employed here. In 1970, it was decided to close this station and open a new station which was closer to the town centre. The new station was simply named Falmouth, but 5 years later it was decided to rename that station as the Dell and to reopen this station under its original name of Falmouth Docks. The unusual arched awning is not original. In fact, the original platform would have been where the block of flats now stands, and this platform was where the arrivals took place, such as goods and services. The area over which the roof had once stood was completely removed in the late 60s, leaving a derelict area and a truncated station. This student accommodation was built in the 1990s, and the area around the station has been tidied up, helping it look better than it has done for a long time. And my eye was taken with this beautiful mural on the wall, which depicts an intercity high-speed train travelling across the Cornish Main Line. Perhaps the greatest asset of the Port of Falmouth is its deep and sheltered harbour. The arrival of the railways to the town in 1863 provided a vital transport link to the rest of the country, and the docks were then able to handle more imports and exports, with the railway also opening up the town to tourists. Today, the docks handle all types of vessels, from luxury yachts to warships, along with tankers and also cruise liners who regularly dock in the harbour. Well, I'm taking a stroll into the centre of Falmouth with its charming mix of shops ranging from independent outlets and art galleries to the multi-award-winning National Maritime Museum for Cornwall. Well, I've now arrived at Falmouth Town Station, which is just over 900 yards as the crow flies from Falmouth Docks Station. Although I think I took a few wrong turns getting here because it was quite a long detour. But anyway, I'm here now, and it is a relatively new station, this one. It opened in 1970. And at that time, the Falmouth Docks Station closed. That originally opened in 1863. But it did reopen though in 1975, when this station's name was changed from Falmouth to the Dell. But by 1989, this station's name changed to Falmouth Town, and the dock station remained the same. Well, here comes the train heading back from Falmouth Docks to Falmouth Town Station, and if you look in the distance, you can see the blocks of flats that overlook the dock station, which shows just how close the two stations are. This station is relatively new, as I said in my introduction, and it was opened in 1970. And the platform was originally at Perranwell Beach Halt, which was opened in 1937 and which closed in 1963, after which it was dismantled and brought here. The platform was in fairly good condition and was quite easy to dismantle, and British Rail decided to recycle it and took the platform apart and moved it here. It was duly opened as a nice new station, which was rather closer to the town centre than Falmouth Docks and was expected to do better business. And substantial cost savings and the potential to drastically improve journey times were also expected as a result of the decision to close the dock station at the same time. Unfortunately, the new Falmouth station is built on a very steep gradient, and as I understand it, it is illegal for drivers to change ends on the train on a steep gradient, so therefore the train, having deposited its passengers at the new Falmouth station, had to run down to the bottom of the hill to the old one, so the driver could change ends. Therefore, there was nothing to be gained by abandoning the station at Falmouth Docks, so that station reopened in 1975, and this new Falmouth station was renamed Falmouth Dell. In 1988, the the station's name changed again, this time to Falmouth Town, which was in line with the old Great Western idea that if there were multiple minor stations in a town, the closest to the town centre should be known as the town station. Well, I've been really surprised how busy this station is. There are lots of passengers getting on and off the trains, particularly holiday makers with luggage. I think the passenger numbers here must be getting on for about 250,000 a year. I'll look up the latest ORR figures for this station and put them on screen. But I'm just waiting for my train, which has just gone down to Falmouth Docks. It'll be back in a few minutes' time. And the next station on the line is Penmere, which was built in 1925, and it is on the outskirts of Falmouth, so you could say that Falmouth really has 3 railway stations. This is Penmere Station, and it's on the outskirts of Falmouth, so in effect Falmouth does have 3 railway stations. It is pretty busy too. It's not as busy as the main station at Falmouth, but it gets well over 100,000 passengers a year. I'll put the exact number up on the screen. It's very pretty, lots of flower beds here. I believe there is an active Friends group who look after the station. It's very well kept, very meticulous. And back in 1940 there was an oil depot here and there were sidings, but that all closed in 1967. The next station on the line to here is Penryn, and there's a passing loop at Penryn which enables the 2 Class 150s DMUs to switch across, so that provides a more frequent 30-minute service up and down the line. And from what I've seen today with the passenger numbers using the line, I think that's a really good plan. This very attractive station at Penmere first opened in June 1925. When the station first opened, much of the area surrounding it was just green fields, but during the post-war period there was extensive house building as the town of Falmouth developed to the north. Back then, many of the passengers used the railway to travel to work in Falmouth Docks. The station originally had a waiting hut, a ticket office, there were ladies' and gents' toilets, and also a separate lamp room. But all of this was swept away by British Rail in the 1960s. There were 4 oil exchange sidings to the southeast of the station which were operational during the Second World War, and these were used to supply fuel to the flying boats based in Falmouth Harbour. Underground pipes ran the oil down to a terminus which was situated below the station, and overnight trains brought the fuel down from Liverpool to Cornwall. But the sidings were lifted many years ago and the area is now overgrown. The Friends of Penmere have been caring for the station for around 20 years or so, and they have a very active programme of maintenance, and there are beautiful floral displays on the platform. Indeed, during that time, the station has received a number of awards, both locally and nationally, from Britain in Bloom to Community Rail Awards and awards from the Royal Horticultural Society. Well, here comes my train, which will take me to the next stop along the line at Penryn. This is Penryn Station, which was opened by the GWR in 1863, although it was relocated to this site a little later than that. It did have good sidings, and it also had 2 platforms back then. It just has 1 single platform now, but what really impressed me was this loop line that was installed between 2008 and 2009 at a cost of over £5.5 million. And what it does, it enables trains to pass one another at this point, allowing the 2 Class 150s to operate. But the original Platform 1, as it was then, has been split into 2. And one end of it, which is now called Platform 1, covers the trains that head to the south towards Falmouth. And then there's the original section in the middle, it's no longer used. And then at the northern end, it's been turned into Platform 2 for trains heading north to Truro. A really good idea, because it actually solves opening the other platform across the tracks here and building a footbridge at the same time. And it's a busy station again, with about 250,000 passengers using it every year. This interesting track arrangement at Penryn can be seen here with this northbound DMU from Falmouth Docks to Truro. Approaching Penryn Station, it's going through the southern end of the platform, which is Platform 1, and coming straight through to the northern end of the platform on Platform 2. The train then remains at the platform until the southbound DMU passes the train on its left-hand side. The trains having crossed, the southbound DMU then cuts back onto the single track, pulling in to the southern end of the platform, which is Platform 1. The trains having crossed over, the northbound DMU now proceeds out of Penryn, heading north towards Truro. Meanwhile, the southbound DMU heads out of the station, travelling down to Falmouth Docks. The loop line was built with funding from the local authority and Network Rail, and this meant that the opposite platform did not need to be opened, which saved a considerable amount of money because a footbridge would have required lifts, roofs and fencing to ensure that it was fully DDA compliant. Penryn has always been the busiest of the intermediate stations along the line, and there were original station buildings here along with a goods shed and signal box and extensive goods sidings, but all of this was removed back in the 1960s. Well, here's my train, which will take me to the final of the intermediate stations along the Maritime Line at Perranwell. Well, my final station stop on the Maritime Line is here at Perranwell station, which it seems to be the least used of all the stations along the line, although it does get over 30,000 passengers a year. It opened in the same year as Penryn, 1863, and it did originally have two platforms, and the original platform 2 is still here. There used to be a passing loop here too, and a very, very active goods yard, and the goods shed is also still here, although it is now used as a building merchants, and there's a hive of activity going on in there at the moment, so it's still really good to see it being still used for a practical purpose.
Perranwell station originally opened under the name of Perryn, but it was soon concluded that this was too easily confused with Penryn, and so the name was lengthened. Like the other intermediate stations along the line, this station also was downgraded in the 1960s. The second platform was closed, the passing loop was removed, and the goods yard was sold off for private use. And the station was originally a request stop, although now it isn't a request stop, but some trains do go through this station without stopping, and there's an average of an hourly service in each direction. Well, this is my train, which will take me back to the Cornish main line at Truro, and en route we'll be crossing the magnificent Caran Viaduct, which crosses the River Fal. The present 9-arch masonry viaduct was opened in June 1933 and replaced an earlier 19th century structure which was designed by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. And the piers of the former timber viaduct are still in place.
Truro station, the county town of Cornwall, and that brings an end to my visit today to the Maritime Line. And following on from my visit a day or two ago to the River Valley line, this has been another really enjoyable day out on a branch line in Cornwall. And I think it must be about 40 years since I last went on the Maritime Line. And I think the thing I would take away from it today is the high number of passengers, really, the increased number, which is really good to see, and that can only be good news for the protection of the line in the future. So thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be back with another video from Cornwall very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.